How are you? You guys are making me all very nervous. I've made all these notes just for you. And to be honest, I was so inspired by what was said, I'm going to drop them right there. I'm absolutely honored to be here. I'm honored to be at the largest diversity conference ever. I'm a little shaky in the knees. But I'm honored to be here because this topic is so key for our future. And what better place could we do that than in Norway, here in Oslo, where we're world leaders in terms of diversity. And we heard that just now from the Prime Minister. It's super exciting. And we're super excited as EY to be part of this, working closely with the SHE community, developing the SHE Index, which actually gets behind the data and science of diversity to look at the numbers. Looking at the numbers is really important because what we cannot measure, we cannot change. And ladies and gentlemen, when I look at those numbers, I have to say that I'm worried. I'm really worried. Even here in Norway, where we have one of the world's largest populations of board directors as women, 40%. When I look underneath, the population of women leaders has not changed substantially in the last 10 years. Already on stage, you heard about the Davos statistic. I was there in Davos, where they told me it will take over 200 years for women to reach gender parity. 202 years. If there's ever anything we need to speed up, it's now. Francois was kind enough to mention I have 4 children. My oldest is a daughter, she's 24. My youngest is a son, he's 12. I have 2 in the middle. How can I explain to my 24-year-old daughter that she'll never have the same opportunities as her brothers? And actually, it's not her that doesn't have the same opportunities. Her children will not, their children will not, and their children will also not. Francois was also kind enough to tell you a little bit about what I do. I lead 115,000 people across a number of countries. We have fantastic teams. And as a leader of a business, I feel I have a responsibility. But as a mother, I feel that I have an even greater one. And frankly, I'd like to change the perspective on some of those statistics we shared this morning in 2 ways. The first is this. All of us in this room, all of us, by nature that you are here, are leaders. Leaders in thought, leaders in opinion, leaders in being an entrepreneur, leaders in business. And we all have a responsibility to drive change. Driving change when you are confronted with 202 years feels like an immense and perhaps even overwhelming task. But I would tell you, I think there's 4 things we need to do, just 4. Are we hiring a fair share? Are you hiring an equal amount of men and women coming out of university? Have you done that? That's easy. All of us as business leaders are hiring. Are you doing that? Are you paying fairly? I'm not saying paying more. I'm just saying pay fair across the genders. And frankly, there's enough statistics to show that you can measure if you're doing that, if there's unconscious bias baked into how you pay. And if you need help, I can help show you how to do that. Number 3, are you promoting equivocally? I'm not asking you to promote more women than men. I'm asking that you promote based on the supply in your organization. Just equivocally. And last, but certainly not least, I'm asking that you set the right tone by leveraging the tools available. And some of those tools include making sure that for every leadership position you have in your organization, that you have a succession slate that includes at least 2 women. Very simple. 4 things to make a huge difference. But I spent time talking about that because I was speaking to the business leaders and the business owners in the room. If you are a mother, or frankly a father, you equally have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to ensure that your child is treated fairly and equally and is able to do whatever they want to do. That is our job as parents, to empower them. If you are a friend or a colleague, it is also your responsibility to encourage your friends and your colleagues to reach their full potential, to take a step forward. All of us here have a role to play if we want to change those 202 years. But as I lead my business, I can tell you that I have a real problem with all these statistics. And this is my problem. We are constantly talking about fixing the gender gap. And actually, the 4 items I mentioned are designed to fix that gender gap. But I would challenge all of us in this room. I think we're thinking about it in the wrong way. Every day, I work to provide the best solutions I can for the companies we serve by providing them diverse teams. And you know what I notice? Diverse teams get better answers. They get better performance. And I can give you loads of statistics and research everywhere from Harvard to Stanford that show diverse teams, diverse boards, diverse companies perform better, lower risk, higher return. Why are we looking at the gender issue as solving a problem as opposed to looking at it as the answer of what we need for the future? The answer for better performance, the answer for more GDP growth, the answer for lower unemployment. I would put forth to you that while we need to address those 4 issues that I mentioned, we need to change the 200 years. I think we need to start looking at gender diversity and diversity inclusion as the answer to our solution, as the answer to our problem and not the problem itself. I think we should start asking companies, not necessarily what their gender balance is, this we do with the SHE index, but I think we should ask them what they're doing about their bad performance, because their performance could be much better if they had that diversity. We need to turn it around and see it as the solution, and that's what I would like to change. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to leave you with a challenge, because this conference is all about actions, not just words. And so the action that I want to leave you with is the following. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you take someone with you. The challenge I'd like to give you now is, who are you taking with you? What is the one person you're going to encourage to speak out, to step up, to ask for that pay raise or that promotion, to write something, an article, maybe write a bill on gender diversity? Who is that person? As a matter of fact, I want us to take 30 seconds. I'd like you to think about who this person is. And I'm serious, because my next step is going to be to ask you to tell the neighbor who that person is. Yeah, because otherwise it's not real. So I'm going to wait 30 seconds. You think of the name of the person that you are going to personally promote and take with you on this journey. And I want you to reach to your neighbor, who you probably know, and tell him or her that name. Let's go. There's not enough talking going on here, clearly. Please, I was serious. If there's one thing we're going to do, we're all taking somebody with us. Ladies and gentlemen, that was way more talk than one name. I want to leave you with this. If we are going to make a difference, it will require each of us doing more than just saying a name. But if we don't start with the name, we're certainly not going to go very far. And I personally, and I hope you're with me, are not willing to wait another 202 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me just ask you a question.
Oh, sure.
Thank you very much, Julie. And I agree about the proposition, and we need to be solutions-orientated. That is how we propel this forward. And I was thinking with your different pieces of great advice, I mean, if you would give advice to the young leaders, entrepreneurs, women and men who are in the starting point of their career with your expertise and wealth of knowledge, both as a leader and also as a mother, what's that sort of key advice you would give to also accelerate this change that is a mindset?
It's a great question. It's a terrific question, and I would give one piece that you probably wouldn't expect from me, and you certainly wouldn't expect it knowing what I do. I think we need to be prepared to take a risk. I think in our careers, we are the driver of careers, we're the driver of our business. And if you are not willing to take a risk, to step forward, to ask for that promotion, to ask for the new position, to ask for the raise, you're not taking a risk. In my career, I did many, many different things that put me in a risk situation. Every business decision is a risk situation. You risk by picking a leader. Did you pick the right one? Did you give her a fair chance? But we also have to be willing to take that risk. You cannot win if you're not willing to risk anything. So my advice, be willing to take a risk. It's worth it. Because even if you fail, you will learn so much on the way that you're better equipped for the next time. So get out there and be risky.
Thank you so much. Julie Linn Teigland, thank you.